Alice Madness Returns is a game that is very unlike the story we all heard growing up.
There are some similarities, however they are few and far between. The story begins with our protagonist Alice, a 19-year-old girl living as a caretaker at an orphanage in London. There is a brief backstory about her entire family dying in a house fire, and her being the sole survivor. However, there is not a lot of light shed on this. The game begins in the orphanage, where Alice follows an imaginary white cat down the rabbit hole that is her sanity. In the original classic, we remember Alice being transported to a fun, strange, and quirky land known as Wonderland. She meets a handful of creatures, both good and bad, and eventually wakes up from her nap, realizing it was all a dream. In a similar way, in this game, Alice is also transported to a Wonderland. Except in this story, she is greeted by very scary and horrifying creatures occupying space in a broken land. I don't want to give too much away, however the farther the game progresses, the more insight you get into her past memories and experiences with insanity. The memories allow her to solve the mystery surrounding the fire her family perished in and reveal some unexpected twists and turns in her current reality. The story is very satisfying and creates a new dark twist to the old children's book. However, I think the mature rating on this game should absolutely be reinforced. The story alone is very adult. There is little to no cursing and no inappropriate scenes, but there are a few inferences and occurrences that are a bit much. That being said, I will only show and highlight more of the gameplay and less of the story. I will also try to keep out the more horrifying parts. As far as gameplay, the game does a great job presenting the story using a unique art style. Upon completing checkpoints and chapters, you get these very cool picture cutscenes. The music creates a very eerie and unsettling emotional experience using carnival-like instrumentation and melodies. The whole time I felt like I was sharing in Alice's madness due to the combination of frightening imagery and playful music. The puzzles were not overly complicated and were very unique, creative, and fun. There was even this cool 2D platformer minigame that I especially enjoyed in the Oriental Grove area of the game. A few of the minigames I didn't particularly enjoy, however they weren't so obnoxious that it took me out of the game. Now the real winner of the game was the hack and slash fighting style. This is where the game really excels. Alice is equipped with 4 different upgradable weapons. She has a kitchen knife, a pepper wand machine gun, a teapot whoosy-what's-it, and a horse hammer. These aren't their actual names, by the way, it was just what I called them. She also had a C4 rabbit with remote detonation and an umbrella that was really only used for parrying projectiles. The upgrade system was also interesting. I didn't see the connection to the story of gathering teeth to upgrade weapons other than to add a sense of creepiness, but I was okay with it. The combos that I came up with were fairly limited, however the fun never grew old. I got really excited anytime there was a fight and was sad to see it end. I loved the challenge of being bombarded by 5+ monsters at a time and prioritizing the enemies using combos and the easy targeting mechanics. The bosses were very fun to learn and figure out, and even after I discovered the trick to defeat them, I still loved encountering them. The enemies began to get a bit repetitive though, and harder enemies looked like Pokemon evolutions of the weaker ones. I still had fun defeating them, but would have liked a bit more variety. Alice's movements also included a really cool dodge mechanic that would transform her into a swarm of butterflies, and a double and triple jump where mastery was practically mandatory. She was also able to shrink herself to provide clues of invisible platforms and hidden keyholes. Her various outfits, once unlocked in story mode, were available to provide certain perks or add a higher level of difficulty. For example, when wearing Alice's classic skin, she would increase health while shrunk, while wearing her royal suit skin would provide her with only 4 roses maximum health. The only real problem I had with the game was at times I felt like the 3D platform puzzle solving became a bit repetitive, as well as the level design. I found myself wanting to progress with the story instead of having to figure out how to get from point A to point B yet again. It could have been my eagerness or lack of patience, but the game took me a little under 18 hours to finish, so there seemed to be a lot of unnecessary back and forth areas, especially in Chapter 5. It felt like they dragged out some gameplay just for the sake of creating a longer game. That being said, I have to give this game a 4.5 out of 5. The story alone is worth a playthrough. I didn't expect half of the events that transpired, and the final conclusion was insane, pun intended. However, the interesting level design, the creative spin on familiar characters along with the super addictive gameplay makes this game a must-play. The addition of the creepy sounds and music is also an added bonus to fully immerse yourself into a weird and strange wonderland. I absolutely love this game and highly recommend this to those mature enough to handle it. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing. I'll catch you next week for another game review past its expiration. See ya!